defenders, I think, it's like.
Are we live? Of course we're live. People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, really wanted to do this for a while, and it makes sense with Arsenal, Liverpool. You know, you best know Paul and Redman TV and many other things. And it's Arsenal, Liverpool, as I said. How you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, and I'm good in life, less so in football at the moment.
I can't relate as an Arsenal fan, man. We're living right now, man. Hopefully it continues, man. How you doing, though, man? You all right?
Yeah. I'm good. We've got Rangers tonight, which is obviously an opportunity to kind of get everything feeling a little bit more positive ahead of what is, I'll be honest, an absolutely all of a sudden terrifying game.
How you lot beat us all up and down the country, man? It might as well be you lot's home pitch, man. We struggled to score against you lot, man. You mentioned it. Is this a big week beyond the obvious? Because obviously Liverpool's form hasn't been good. You've got Rangers, which is a big game, Arsenal, which is a big game. This could kind of kickstart or restart your season potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as you say, you got Rangers tonight. We've got usually the weekend. Rangers again away, and then Man City after that. So that's they're four big games, and in some ways it's a little bit annoying, but that they are games that all will require focus. But at the same time, we've tried everything else. We've been crap when we've had one game a week. We might as well try having big games every single time and see if that does the trick.
What's gone wrong for you lot this season? Because obviously you're a Liverpool fan, you live, breathe Liverpool. I can obviously watch your games and listen to Talk Sport and Sky Sports and that. But what's actually gone wrong, man? Because it seemed like pre-season was a bit of a drag and it's just picked up and continued.
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone's got their own answer to this question, and I think a lot of people will focus on the smaller points, like Trent's become scapegoat number one in the whole country at the moment, which is just
unnecessary.
Nuts. Yeah, it's nuts. But I don't know. I think we've tried to do something a bit different. We've tried to evolve the style, but then coupled with loads of injuries at the start of the season, they've just not been able to play it at the level. No one can quite work out what it is we're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
But something fundamentally changed and it's not working. And we're at the position now where we're getting players back now. Brighton was the first time, since the first game of the season, when we've had a first choice midfield, or what we would class as our first choice midfield out there. We've got options to rotate in attack. The defense, again, we're getting centre halves back as well. So it should be sound, but at the minute it's not. But that's what I'm kind of clinging to. That's what they've been saying is, without Thiago, without Henderson, without Jota, Nunez having the suspension, without Kanate at the back, Matip had a spell out as well. Liverpool were just a little bit too weakened to play.
That would harm everyone, really. You're right, man.
Yeah, absolutely, and that I'd say that's kind of been it, to be honest. But again, it's one of them. It sounds daft, but look, you're saying you're in such a good mood with Arsenal at the moment. We've had 6 of the last 7 years, really, of everything being on the up, and even the club's first season, we got to the Europa League final and the League Cup final that season. So I've kind of forgotten how to analyse Liverpool when they're not playing well, because it's been a good old run.
Would you say there's any question marks over Klopp? Because I have, as I said, as a neutral, there's rumours about he's not evolved, he's a bit predictable and things like that. Where are you at with that?
Yeah, look, here's what happens, and I'm sure you'll be well versed in this too, is that whenever there's too many good clubs for too many Champions League places, so what happens is one of them or two of them these days are out of form, or they lose a game or whatever, and they become the club where everyone's like, well, what's wrong? Is it part of a deeper problem? Yeah. Is there a huge thing? And inevitably the basic analysis is, well, it's either one or two players' fault, or it's the manager's fault, or in our case it's the ownership's fault, or whatever. So yeah, I understand people go talking about the manager because it's kind of like standard fare, isn't it? It's like, well, you've got to look at the manager eventually, but in realistic terms, we've still got the best. Well, yeah, no, but it happens, and it does. I mean, again, it's funny because you've gone through this. I think back to only a few years since the old usual suspects were kicking off about Arteta, and having faith and sticking with it is what gets you through when you've got the right man in charge. What it means is I get to kind of write that off. I don't have. It's not something I have to think about, because when you've got the best you can get, then you're only going to get worse. So you trust the best to get back to the best.
You mentioned ownership. What is all of that with all the FFG and stuff? Because my Liverpool supporting friends, they're all FFG out. It's all them. It's this, that, and the other. And yeah, it's a bit baffling. I don't know what it is.
It's a thing that exists online more than I think exists in the real world, if I'm being honest. And not to say it doesn't exist in the real world, but it's not conversations that people really have in and around the match. The problem is that where Liverpool are at now, and where I think Liverpool's ownership issues are, is they should probably splash the cash a bit more. I can't argue. My thing is, I can't argue with everything they've done because they're the only team. They've delivered the only team in my time of properly supporting the football club that's done anything of real note. Liverpool have been a cup team since the 90s. They delivered that league title. They've been to 3 Champions League finals, Europa League final.
It's been a bit of a dream world, man.
It's been unreal, mate. The only team that's delivered more has been City. Well, how are you going to compete with Man City without the resources? So that's where I'm at with that, is that they might be able to do better, but my concern is it's a bit like playing, blackjack or pontoon or whatever, where you're on 20 and you could twist and get 21, but if you're more likely to twist and go bust.
Yeah.
Because, that's the danger of where we're at. I think Liverpool have got pretty good operators. They should spend more money because Liverpool make money. But they're very sustainable, and there's nothing there's nothing underhand about how they run, which I quite like, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'd like them to spend more money, but name me a football fan who doesn't want the club to spend more money.
You're right in that. Can I take you back to the Brighton game? What went wrong against Brighton? Because I know it looked like you came from behind. It looked like you was dead set on coming from behind and getting 3 points, and late equaliser. I didn't watch it, but it looked a bit topsy-turvy and kind of continuing how your season's been.
They just don't. They're just not getting a grip on football games. I mean, the Liverpool that won the league, Liverpool that, the Liverpool that gets 97 points wins the Champions League. The Liverpool side that gets 99 points and win the league. You know how to defend.
Yeah.
They defended as a unit. They were resolute. You couldn't get through them. Honestly, the level of relaxation when a ball would go up and they'd be like, well, if it gets past Fabinho, which it probably won't, it's got to get past Van Dijk, which it almost certainly won't.
Yeah.
And if it gets past Van Dijk, you've got to get past Alisson. So you basically got no chance of scoring. Whereas we've not got that stability this season. And even at 3-2, when the third goal goes in, it was a bit like, it was weirdly flat, because I don't think we truly deserved to be in the lead in that game. We'd not dominated. We'd started to create moments and we were okay in attack-ish. But it never felt like we owned that game. And Brighton just had much more dynamism. They were more committed. They knew how to play, and they knew how to play against us. They had a very well-drilled side, and Liverpool look a little bit like the kind of making it up as they go along, which is very unlike us because we've been very well-drilled for a load of years. I think that's kind of one of the problems was one of the problems against Brighton.
That sounds crazy, man. So obviously, put yourself on. Well, you are a Liverpool fan, but if you was setting up to play against Liverpool on Sunday, where would you exploit? Because you know your team's strengths, you know their weaknesses beyond the obvious. How would you go about it if you was Mikel Arteta or anyone?
Well, I think honestly, the way that it's worked in the past, you've seen you guys did this really well in the Charity Shield, the Community Shield, where you put Aubameyang really high and wide on the left, and just left him there, and that basically said, and look, teams attack us down our left-hand side because on the balance of probabilities, are you going to attack Van Dijk's side and normally Robertson, but in this instance, it'll be Shimikas, or are you going to attack the second choice centre-half and Trent, who's the more attacking of the full-back
normally
side?
Fabinho there as well on the best of days. Yeah. So in that regard.
Exactly. So you're going to attack down that side. So it's whether you want to go down that really over the top and really, really stick a guy out there and just say, go on, Trent, we're just going to leave a guy in behind you all game long. He's not going to track back. He's not going to, you're not going to pull him out of position. We're going to try and pull you out of position. There's that. But also, honestly, you guys are probably at that position now where you just play your own game, because your own game you're great on the ball. You've got loads more intensity than previous. You've got a little bit more bite in your game than has been true for a number of years. And they're the kind of teams that go at Liverpool at the moment. It used to be the teams that park the bus we had a real struggle with, but at the moment, it's actually teams that get in our face. So, how would you set up to beat Liverpool? I think Arsenal probably already kind of set up that way, to be perfectly honest. Loads of movements, pace, creativity, and then really just going and going and going and going and going and going. That's probably how you do it. Now, Liverpool get their act together. last year and the year before and the year before, they were the teams we loved playing against because we'd stand resolute. Teams would punch themselves out against us, and then we'd go and hit them on the counter. But we haven't quite got that balance so far this season.
That's crazy. And I mean, a lot of Arsenal fans and a lot of football fans, I don't know where I stand on it, but a lot of people, weirdly, Arsenal, would you consider Arsenal the favourites? Would you consider it, people would say Arsenal be the favourites. People dare to say there's never a better time to play Liverpool now. I'm sure you're hoping for it, and it probably will happen. You look like the Liverpool side of old. I personally think when we play you lot, we kind of have this mental handbrake a bit, like when we go to Old Trafford, like we still probably over-respect beyond the obvious you have to do. So where would you be with that? Would you consider us the favourites and definitely the whatever going into it?
Yeah, look, you're the form team. I think that counts for something in this. And the problem is Liverpool are teetering on that thing where there's no reason why Liverpool can't turn up and just be brilliant and be exactly where they should be, which is, that small slice at the top of the league that gets plus 90 points every season, which is what they've been, because there's still that team. It's still the vast majority of the players.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. But because we've not been that team, I'm finding myself sort of week in, week out now going, well, if they turn it on, then they'll beat anyone. But at the minute they're not. So it's the doubt's creeping in. So look, Arsenal should be favourites. Yeah, they absolutely should be. I think there might be some encouragement from, Arsenal aren't the finished product just yet,
and we still have naiveties in our team. That's true.
Yeah, you got a lot of young players, and the stars who are there and not quite, are not necessarily like, I don't know, super established, players in the side, and they've not necessarily been the main men in those big environments in for other teams. Like Gabriel Jesus, I think is a terrific player, but I think he's flourishing at Arsenal because he's been let loose from Man City.
He's gone from being a squad player to the main man sort of thing. But
he's still got to prove himself that he's the go-to guy in the big games when the pressure's on. Give me the ball. Can I win the game? And Liverpool have got a couple more of them. We've got quite a few more of them.
As an Arsenal fan, I definitely know, mate. Only benefit if there's no Mane, really.
Yeah, and absolutely. So, look, I'm. This could go either way. Genuinely could. Arsenal should be considered the favourite. I think that's just being fair to Arsenal and what they've done so far this season.
Just because I mentioned that, how badly has Mane been missed, and has that affected Salah? And where are you at with Salah's form as well? Because he's killing my FPL team in the wrong way, mate. I've had to take him out, man. I might put him back because he played us, but man.
Tell me about it, mate. Yeah, no, the same. Liverpool haven't missed Mane Liverpool have missed Mane, the centre forward, which is where he played at the back end of the season, and that's because Jota's been injured and Nunez was suspended for 3 games and isn't quite up to speed yet. We haven't missed Mane, the left winger. I think Diaz has come in and just basically filled that role completely. Player, he's really good. And Salah's another one who's just struggling for how we're playing football at the moment. He's just not involved enough. He's very, very wide on the right-hand side, which when he picks the ball up and he tears at defences, he can be a real threat from that. Like Sterling's very much that, was very much that for Man City. A couple of great games he had against us where he just started deep on the left-hand side, and because his close control so good, he could just run and cause havoc. Salah needs to be closer to the 18-yard box, so he's been on it, and he's been a little unlucky. He's probably a couple of goals off where he would normally be if he just had a slice more fortune. There's a great save from Jordan Pickford in the Merseyside derby. That's one that sticks out in that one. But yeah, he looks fresh. He looks on it. He looks committed. It just looks like he's being told to stay away from the box. And I can only imagine that's to do with wanting to get more out of Jota and Nunez. But Jota's been injured and Nunez has been suspended. So maybe this is the game where it all clicks, maybe. Or, hopefully it's all...
next week, but boy.
Hopefully it's all clicked on Tuesday night and we're just talking about a continuation of that. But Salah's he's playing the role of creator more. But unfortunately, when you've got Firmino in the team, he wants to play that role as well. You've not got enough killers in the 18-yard box.
And you have to score goals, yeah.
Exactly.
So a lot of people, like the wider footballing world, kind of, I don't know if I agree, and you're a Liverpool fan, so you can kind of give me the gospel. Was Mane kind of underappreciated in comparison to Salah?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think I adored Sadio Mane. Absolutely adored him. I think that people kind of went up and down, because inevitably you can only have like a favourite, and if you've got one of favourites for some reason, that means that the other one you've got to not like, which is stupid. Like, you know, we adored them all, him and Firmino in the mix, that front three when they were in the, you know, 3 seasons ago, just absolutely levels above everything else in the world at the time. But yeah, a little underappreciated, but also I think we'll see what happens with Salah this year, but there is a little sense when you see what Mane's doing in the Bundesliga that we've probably got the best years out of him.
Yeah, that's without a doubt, man. You look at where he's approaching, you know, he's on a downward curve. He might still excel and score goals, but it was probably a fallacy to expect Mane to get a big contract and Salah is probably either or, and it looked like, you know, Salah's the one we keep. Mane looked for a while, he's leaving.
Yeah, so look, someone has to go, and it's very much it's got very sort of like Chicago Bulls vibes to it, like, you know what I mean, where it's like there's a bit of a last dance coming up where you couldn't keep them all because, you know, again, Salah, Mane, Firmino, all in that 30 to 31 bracket. You all of a sudden you're tying them down to what, 4 more years.
Not bad. It's not good from a business point of view, regardless of how good or bad they are. Tough decisions have to be made, and that's where I think you lot are doing well, because you just mentioned Diaz looks great. You know, you've got Jota is there. Darwin Nunez, I don't know if the jury's still out, but he looks like he'll be all right. I don't know for his technical level, but he'll look like he'll score goals. Where are you at with Darwin Nunez? You know, he's being called Central C on Twitter and things like that.
Yeah, he just needs to score some goals, and everyone will just forget about it for a while. He's fallen foul of the fact that he was bought in the same summer that Erling Haaland moves to Man City. You know, I said this at the time. I think Nunez is we've got him a season too soon on his development, I think, because we needed to get him or risk missing out on him. And it's a lot of money to spend on that, which is very un-Liverpool-like in that regard. But again, this is the thing, Haaland's just a machine, and he's done it at the highest level. Bundesliga, Champions League, and then Nunez has had, probably last season was really his breakout season, and then he could have done with probably another year. You know what I mean? Like, keep him in the oven for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, just getting a bit more seasoned and things. But I think he'll get there just because he looks like a killer in front of goal. And like you said, it's a massive culture shock. Forget football for a sec, moving to a new country, relearning. And as you said, you go back and look at his history. You know, he weren't the best at Almeria. He had a season, 18 months at Benfica, and then now he's just been thrust into it. There's comparisons, the Haaland versus him, like football fans do, and you're never gonna really benefit from that. Again, I can't lie to you, I can't not speak about Liverpool players and Trent's one of my favorite non-Arsenal players. I mean, I'm a Sunday League right back, he's a right back, so it's full-back union. Where do you stand at it? Because I don't think he's a terrible defender. I think he's got some bad habits and some improvements, but I think it's being overblown, and everybody has to take responsibility at Liverpool. It's like Juventus, everyone's not really playing well at the moment, so it's a tax that's afforded to everyone.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's easy pickings because he's a right back who doesn't play right back, and he's a right back that doesn't play like a right back. So we've all got this level of understanding of football, and let's be honest, you know, in this country it's 4-4-2. Like, you can put any gang of 11 English people on a pitch, and they will instinctively know how to play 4-4-2. It's like something in the DNA. But
the realest comment I've heard in a while. That's facts, man.
Yeah, mate. We've got a basic understanding of what every position's sort of meant to do. You know, your defensive midfielder's meant to be a cruncher, he's meant to be an anchor man, he's meant to stop all the things. You're meant to have one like commanding centre back who's really good in the air and quite good on his feet, and then you've got one that throws himself around. Your left back, you know, you look, if you can get a left-footed left back, that's it. That's all the analysis you need. And your right back, you know, the idea is you're in a back four, you're supposed to defend.
Gary Neville sort of.
Exactly. And look, it's funny because Trent gets beaten with the stick of what Carragher said years ago, like, you know, nobody wants to be a fullback. All fullbacks are either, you know, failed centre halves or failed wingers. But like, every now and again in a position, someone takes it forward, and you saw it with Cafu, you saw it with Dani Alves, and I honestly think Trent is that.
Yeah, Trent's done his thing without a doubt in that regard. You can't deny that. He's basically a centre mid. I think for large periods of Liverpool, he might as well have been your number 10 because him and Robertson were where the assists are coming from or what Klopp was demanding of them. So I can't understand it. I don't know what Southgate's on, not picking him and things, but I don't know.
He's just not good enough a manager to get out of him that thing, you know. So I see this with Andy Robertson in Scotland, and we're about a year or 18 months on from like Scottish fans going, oh, well, he's not as good for Scotland as he is for Liverpool. And it's like, yeah, but Scotland are crap, you know, ultimately, you know, but that's it, you know. You're playing left back.
You're not surrounded with them players that you are at Liverpool.
you've got better players around you helping you out and giving you a platform to shine. You know, we were talking about this on a show before about like if you think about like the quarterback role, you know, you can be the best quarterback in the world, but if the guys in front of you are subpar at stop allowing you to do your job, then you're not going to, you know, you're going to be your output's going to be
matter how
much
good
lower.
you are, yeah.
Exactly. And Southgate's just not good enough to, and I understand this, he doesn't get the training time, you know, he doesn't get the same group of players each and every day, every week to work with, and he's got to work in a tournament, so that he's got to get a style of football that just, it's easier to play. So I get it. Plug Reece James in, he'll run up and down the flank all day for you. He can score goals, he can create goals, and Trippier, he's, you know, he can play multiple positions. So I get the Trent thing, but also there's just some players who are so special that you should be building your team around them.
Trent's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, but ultimately, I'm not asked if he doesn't want to play for England, then it means he can have a holiday and be more rested and play more games for Liverpool. So it's a win for me.
Facts, like you said there, facts are more facts. I think one thing that goes against Trent on top of that is probably his strengths are more going forward. Any attacking player is going to struggle under a conservative manager. He's not got the risk to want to do it. To close this up, though, I've got 3 questions for you with Arsenal related. What have you made of us this season, and what do you expect of the game on Sunday?
Yeah, very, very impressed with Arsenal, to be honest. I think what's telling is how little Arsenal sort of permeates my timeline anymore, because obviously I'm not an Arsenal fan. I don't seek out Arsenal content, but inevitably when Arsenal
always finds you, man. Don't worry about that.
Exactly. It looks like you're all having a great time, and I kind of like that. You know, I don't really want Arsenal to be successful. I don't really want any other football club other than Liverpool to be successful, because that's how
as
it
expected.
You know?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
But I love when people enjoy their football clubs, because that's one of the things I've been trying to explain to people over the years. The last year, this under Jurgen Klopp, we've had a great laugh. You know what I mean? We've had more. It's great, you know, the away trips, the stories, the songs. It's all the culture of going the game has been reborn. And I've seen, you know, even like with Everton last season, you know, fighting relegation, and actually all of a sudden they're doing coach greetings and they're just having a great time supporting the football club. And it looks like that with Arsenal too, because I just thought it became a bit of a cliche for you to be like, well, you lose 3 games on the bounce, well, he's got to go and sack this guy and this guy. Just exhausting, absolutely exhausting. And it means that everyone thinks that's how Arsenal fans are, and then you think that's how you're meant to talk about football and all that kind of stuff. Whereas no, you look great. You've got a good manager. He plays a good brand of football. He's gone out and spent the money to make that happen as well. And I don't even buy into this all like, well, they've spent 250 million, so they need to deliver. You're playing catch up. You're paying that money just to get yourselves in
stay
contention.
with the pack, man, because we've been behind it by quite a distance. It's like you, Liverpool, City, to a degree, Chelsea. It's like you, Usain Bolt, and we're just here like some guy from the pub trying to keep up. So people
talk about Pep though, Pep Guardiola, and like he inherited a title-winning side. He inherited the core of players. You know, he inherited Vincent Kompany and David Silva and Sergio Aguero. You know, Arteta's not inheriting the best players in the world in their positions. In that, he's having to throw players out the door and cancel contracts and
young guys that need to learn how to play as well.
Exactly. So yeah, Arsenal look the real deal. I don't know whether you'll have it over the full course of the season, but then there's never been a season like this before. So honestly, who can tell? But at the moment, I mean, who cares? You know, worry about that. That'll be where Arsenal go and how the season goes. Talk about it in April. You know, because that's when the title challenge starts. You know, there's no title challenge until 10 games from the end of the season. You know, people like to egg it up like it's happening now. It's not. The only team that's ever in a title challenge from game 1 is Man City, because they're the only team capable of doing that every single season. But yeah, look, Arsenal, of course, probably they've got great players. You've got multiple players in position, so you can refresh it a little bit as well. Like the whole Smith Rowe Odegaard thing, I think is a wonderful sort of like option to have for you guys. And Saka's brilliant. I adore Saka. I think he's great. I think Martinelli's brilliant, and Jesus might just be.
Man, leave him alone.
Yeah, I'll have both of them, please. That'd be great.
I don't blame you, man. So yeah, obviously, 2 last questions. Do you think Arsenal are in the top 4? Like you said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I personally feel it's not that they were in it, but I feel if you're a Liverpool fan, Chelsea fan, City fan, well, sorry, not City, United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, you should all feel you could get in it. It looks like open season. Every team has struggles and will have struggles and have successes. City's the only team I think you can bet on right now in May are going to be in the top 4. Yeah. And off the back of that, what would you say is the target still for Liverpool? Like,
Yeah, well, look, both of us will now. Liverpool's target was the title, and they fucked it. Let's be perfectly honest. So Liverpool's target is to make sure that they don't slip too far away from that, and that they can that fighting for top four doesn't become a distraction for the Champions League as well. That's Liverpool's aim at the moment. Liverpool's aim is just to win some football matches and see what happens, because it is a mad season, and like, you know, there's going to be a ton of injuries all across the league, and that'll be even worse in January when everyone comes back from the World Cup as well. So it's going to be too hard to predict what to do. But look, at the moment, Arsenal look the most equipped. My thought was always going to be Liverpool or City, 1 or 2. It looked like it was going to be Spurs there, just because of that Conte factor and the Harry Kane thing and the Son thing. But right now, Arsenal look the most steady and the most equipped to beat that other team. And that, you know, if Liverpool can't get their act together, there's no reason why Arsenal can't be pushing for second or third. And why not try and give City a bloody nose? Chelsea look like an absolute basket case. Maybe Potter will settle them down. Who knows with Tottenham? You know, with Tottenham, it's Tottenham. Yeah, there's every chance it's going to go completely tits up, as it is to be like nice and stable and what have you. So, and United are in that situation as well. So, you know, they might be brilliant, or it might take them a year or two to really get up and running. So, yeah, hopefully Liverpool don't shoot themselves in the foot so badly that the season's over within the next 2 weeks. Because it shouldn't be, because they've got too much quality. But I like Arsenal. I think Arsenal now, for me, are the favourites of the other teams to definitely at least finish in the top 4.
I hope so, man. In fact, my real last question, Arthur Melo, you know, he was linked with Arsenal forever. He joined you lot on loan. I haven't really seen him. What's up with that?
No idea, mate. He's been training with the academy teams. He's gone and played in the Papa John's Trophy. I think he played against Rochdale the other day.
He's not fit at all, is he?
No. He'd not played since last season. He hasn't played a game. I don't think he'd really trained with Juve over the summer or whatever. So he's miles off. Look, and he might be a decent player at the minute. He's just a body. And if he comes good, based on what he adds, you know, they took him to Barcelona. There's obviously a player there. But
definitely,
it's. Like, we've signed good players in the past, and it's taken them half a season to get up to speed. So, which is annoying, because we could really do with him actually being capable of contributing now.
Right now, yeah.
If he doesn't, it wouldn't shock me if he got a little bit of a run out at the end of the chat. It depends how Liverpool Rangers goes. If Liverpool are winning the game well with like 20 minutes to go, I would suspect he'll come on. But he won't play against that. He won't play against Arsenal. I think that would be don't think that would be right for him. But then at the minute he's a body. And if he proves more than that, then great. We might be onto something. But at the minute, he's an absolute free hit for us.
I hear that, man. Paul, I've appreciated this chat, man. You know, we're going to have to be enemies on Sunday, but yeah, I'm here for it, man. What was I going to say? Let them know where they can find you. Can't imagine they don't know you, but where can they find you?
Yeah, well, obviously we've got Redmen TV, which is the main one. We're nearly at 500,000 subscribers on that, which is pretty cool.
Get subscribing, people.
Yeah, and then I've got my personal channel, which is Mates TV, and then you can get me at Machin on Twitter as well.
By the time you lot are listening, all the information will be in the descriptions, and obviously you'll know what to do beyond that. Paul, appreciative of you for tuning in and obviously offering Liverpool fan opinions. So yeah, man, with that, people, we're out of here, man. I hope you lot have enjoyed it. As we said, make sure you're liking, you're subscribing, you're commenting, and the rest of it. May the best team win on Sunday, man. We'll see you lot soon. Peace.
Nice.
There's always that active red line defending. I think it's like